how scarcity mindset sneaks in. Let us be honest. Most of us didn't choose a scarcity mindset. We inherited it. We inherited it from survival seasons, from childhood environments, from economies that kept shifting, from prayers that felt unanswered, from moments where just enough felt like a miracle. Scarcity mindset often sounds spiritual at first. I don't want to ask for too much. Let me manage my expectations. I'm just being realistic. God understands my limitations. But if we're honest, beneath those statements is fear. Fear that if we expect more, we'll be disappointed. Fear that if we trust fully, we'll fall hard. Fear that abundance is for other people, not us. Scarcity mindset trains us to brace instead of believe. We start budgeting our joy, rationing our hope, negotiating our prayers. We pray like this: God, just let it work somehow, instead of, God, I trust you completely. And let me tell you something that changed me. Scarcity isn't humility. It is fear dressed in spiritual language. And fear, no matter how politely it speaks, still limits faith. Scarcity is a signal, not a sentence. Here's the reframe that shifted everything for me. Scarcity is not proof that God is absent. Scarcity is often an invitation to transformation. Scarcity reveals where my trust has been outsourced to circumstances instead of anchored in divine provision. When I feel anxious about money, it's not because God lacks resources. When I worry about love, it's not because love has run out. When I fear missing opportunities, it's not because the future is closed. It's because somewhere along the line, I learned to expect less to protect myself. Scarcity mindset is a defense mechanism, not a spiritual truth. And once I realized that, something shifted. I stopped judging myself for feeling lack. Instead, I started asking better questions. What is this fear trying to teach me? Where am I leaning on control instead of trust? What belief needs healing here? Because scarcity is not the enemy. Unexamined scarcity is.